Welcome back to the Grand Prix of China. We are Grand Prix of China. Oh my goodness, the Grand Prix of Canada. We are live on Fox Sports Net because I wanted to get the thought in that the story of the circuit really is brakes.
Well, it's very, very hard. They're coming from 200 miles an hour all the way down, and of course they brake very hard. But there's so many changes going on these cars this year. They have to keep up with the technology, have to keep up and try and catch up with those darn McLarens that are dominating everything. And they've had a lot of changes this year. We've seen the Jordans, in fact, have done some work on their suspension. We have a modified suspension on the Stewart. They've actually lengthened the wheelbase of the car. On Prost, they've actually got a new rear suspension to help traction out of the corners. And Ferrari, in fact, have a new front wing, all which has improved the car. And then, of course, we go to Jacques Villeneuve on the Williams, so, of course, they, in fact, have a nice new rear end.
Yeah, the car is more stable. You can push it harder. The only problem is it's fairly new, and we haven't sussed out the setup yet, the ultimate setup, and it's pretty tight in lap times. The other thing is the big improvement is in high-speed corners, and this track only has first and second gear corners, so that's not on this track that we're going to see the major improvements.
At least as far as this year is concerned, if you follow Formula One, if you sit on the pole, you have a likely chance that you're going to win, and our pole sitter is with Peter.
David, so last year you were leading the race. They called you in for tyres, a red flag came out, you lost the win. 12 months later you come back and on the pole. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a good way to start the weekend, but this is the important part now. We've got 69 laps, and I hope that I'm in the same position come the end.
Nice empty track in front of you. Interesting first corner there, left and then a right. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is. It's quite a tricky first corner because you have to sort of accelerate round the turn on the right before you enter the first part. So it could be a bit of a bottleneck, so it's important to try and keep out of trouble.
And in these laps onto the grid now, the car feels good?
Yeah, it's got a little bit more understeer than maybe I would like, but we're making a small front wing adjustment and see what happens.
David Coulthard, unfinished business. Well done.
Thanks.
It's always unfinished business, so what you were talking about, and I was with you when you were talking with some of the McLaren people, and the changes are not just, it's not fine-tuning at this point. Sometimes it seems as if they're changing a third of the car.
Well, of course, for every circuit you have very, very different things to contend with. You know, different circuit conditions, and here, of course, particularly different temperature conditions, like 30 degrees warmer last year.
All right, what about this circuit, though? What is the key to this circuit from a car setup standpoint?
Well, the most difficult thing about it to me is the fact is it's very, very hard on brakes. This is the one thing they all have to put extra air ducts on, and I think it's very, very hard for the cars, indeed, for the drivers. They have these carbon fiber brakes, but there's such continual high braking from 200 miles an hour down to about 60 miles an hour. It's very hard.
When you come to Formula One, there's always a gathering of the stars. This, of course, is no exception, and let's go down to Peter.
Mr. Stallone, you've been to several Grand Prix now. You're obviously becoming a bit of a fan.
Yes, I have to admit I've become a die-hard fan. I didn't think it would happen, but it's a very addicting sport once you see it.
Well, I hope you enjoy the race today.
Every bit. Unfortunately, Villeneuve is filling in for me today, but next race, Silverstone, I'll be back in racing form. Thank you very much for asking.
And one of the reasons, of course, that Sly is here is that he has a racing picture in his future that they're putting together the financing, and he is going to write it and direct it and star in it.
Yes, it should be interesting to see just what happens. I hope it's a really good movie, because there haven't been that many great ones in the past.
17 minutes and 8 seconds and counting. That is the time remaining until the start of the Grand Prix of Canada, live on Fox Sports Net. Giancarlo Fisichella, 2 weeks ago, he's second in Monte Carlo. Thrilled to be on the podium, and you're going to meet him when you come back. But first, from Benetton, the team director, Dave Richards, and everybody's ready.
So don't go away, there's more action coming shortly from the Canadian Grand Prix.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix of Canada, and Derek, over the years, many great drivers have won here.
Yes, indeed they have. The most sort of eminent, in fact, was Nelson Piquet. He had 3 victories in his career here in Canada. Jackie Ickx had 2, Jackie Stewart 2, Alan Jones, Ayrton Senna, and Michael Schumacher all had 2 wins.
And the man who won it in 1995 is with Peter.
Jean, yesterday you were complaining a little bit of understeer, but out on the circuit where I was watching, you look, as ever, fantastic, great into the corners. How is the car now?
The car is still the same. I mean, especially for the understeer, but when we have only low fuel. Now on the race condition, I'm sure the setup is pretty good, and I'm looking for now this race because I'd like to get some points.
You got an interesting couple of guys around you there, Irvine and Frentzen. What do you think about that?
Interesting, I don't know, but it worries me because sometimes I make a good start, sometimes not. I have to be not too clever. I have just to make sure to do the first 3 corners, and then everything will be right.
Well, let's hope you make a good start. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
That, of course, John Alesi. I love the accent. I'd love to be able to speak. Derek, tell me. Bennington, they have been improving this year.
Yes, very much so. They got better every race. David Richards, of course, at the helm now, and I think he's bringing it all together. He's a very good technician, tactical man. And there's Jackie Stewart, look, on the grid. Nonetheless, I think he pulled together these 2 young drivers, and of course, Fisichella was second in Monaco. The only place next is on pole position, on top of that podium.
All right. Now let's join Peter Windsor as he is dialed in with Bennington's Giancarlo Fisichella.
Carl, there's no way you're going to catch anything here, I believe. I'll tell you what, if you catch something, you're going to finish on the podium, okay?
Hope so.
So listen, you actually like fishing? Do you fish in Italy at home?
Normally, yes, when I have a time with my father.
Do you remember what drove you to want to be a racing driver?
When I was child, I was very exciting when there was Formula 1 in TV, and when I was 8, I started my career in karting, and I was thinking about Formula 1.
Did you have a hero at that point? One driver that you really admired?
Yeah, it was Niki Lauda, and then Ayrton Senna.
It seems that a lot of your fans are females in your fan club. Why is this? Can you possibly explain that?
About females?
Yes, why there are so many girl fans in your club?
There are a lot of females, but I have a girlfriend.
Oh, you have a girlfriend? Yeah, well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of support as well.
Yeah, a lot of supporters. Yeah, it's fantastic. Especially when you get on the podium for them, it's very, very, very nice.
It seems to me you're a bit more English than some of the Italian drivers because you spend a bit of time in England.
It's a nice combination, and it's a nice experience for me because I was very Italian. My English wasn't very good. Now as well, but it's a bit better.
It's really good.
And I understood the work for the English team, the English person. At the beginning for me it was a bit difficult, the English food, but now it's much better. Fashion in England, it's one of the best in the world, but in Italy as well. And I follow the fashion.
And you follow soccer too, eh?
Yeah.
You love soccer?
Yeah, I love soccer. I played soccer.
Do you think you could have been a very good soccer player if you'd concentrated on it 100%?
Maybe yes, why not?
I think you have a fish, look! Quick! Thank you very much, Giancarlo, fantastic.
You're welcome, thank you.
Moby Dick is alive and well in Montreal. Let's go back down to the pits. Olivier Panis is with Peter.
Olivier last year unfortunately had that terrible accident, but a great recovery, and I know you've got a great fan club here now, which is Jean-Marc Chauny and all the staff from the Sacré-Cœur Hospital.
Yeah, very, very good friend now in the hospital, I'm sure. But the last year is last year's season, but this year is it's not the same. And very important for me to make a very good result here, because for us it's very important, because the car, the start of the season is not very good for this moment, but we work together very strong to improve the car for next Grand Prix.
Okay, and physically you're perfect now, eh?
Yeah, it's perfect. Now it's okay.
Okay, great luck. Have a great race.
Thank you.
All right, time for us to step aside. As most of you know, David Letterman was raised in Indianapolis, and he is a big racing fan. And over the past week, well, he let his colors fly as he had a special guest in his studio in New York.
Seriously, Formula One is nothing but babes, am I right? It's nothing but babes, huh?
Well, maybe if someone like you comes in the paddock and you're not working there, then you have time to see them. But, you know, we're working hard there. We're professionals.
How does it look for this weekend? Are you going to be in any better shape than you have?
Yeah, we have a whole new rear end to the car. So half the car is completely new. We tested it last week, and finally it was competitive. And hopefully it's going to be competitive in Montreal.
Good for you. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for taking the time to come down here. Jacques
Thanks for having me.
ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix of Canada. This is Charlie Jones along with Derek Bell, Peter Windsor, Mika Sala, He is getting ready at this point. This can be a bit of nervous time. We'll talk about that, but I guess the most important thing is what happens during qualifying, because that sets up what is going to happen today. And yesterday qualifying went right down to the wire.
It certainly did. It was the most exciting qualifying. Mika Hakkinen here walking, but in fact it was David Coulthard at the end of the day that did it all. It was all about the two McLarens, though, all the way. Michael Schumacher got a lot closer. He got down to within 2/10 of the two McLarens. But he wasn't quite close enough to get that pole. But another time, I think they're going to get there soon. Fisichella, who did so well in Monte Carlo, did an electrifying time. But meanwhile, Mika Hakkinen was kicking up the dirt on his way to a great place. But it was David Coulthard right at the end that got it. Ralf Schumacher actually had the best time of Jordan's this year, getting a 5th time on the grid. So they're very, very excited and pumped about that. But at the end of the day, it was David Coulthard that shone and just showed to McLaren he's capable of winning those races. Just give me the chance.
Derek, here at Ile Notre Dame, braking could well be the key. A lot of downforces. Why don't you take us around the circuit?
Yes, I'd like to do that. It's 2.7 miles, a very, very interesting track. The drivers love it. It's actually got a lot of very demanding corners on it, despite the chicanes. As we ride here with John Alesi, we're coming down into turn 1, which is the little left-right through the center hairpin, getting the power on as they accelerate out up the hill. It's a slight gradient as you go up the hill, up to 150 miles an hour. Brakes very severely. 3rd gear flicks through this right-left chicane, and then out on this little short episode as he comes down towards a place called Pont de la Concorde. Another left and right. And they're putting 3.2G underneath braking there. It's very hard on the drivers on the braking. It's very hard on the brakes. Very hard on the necks. Pulling 3G all the time, constantly. Through one corner, then the next. They run a lot off the road, right on the edge of those curves. Car's track is very, very smooth. He works his way down to Casino hairpin. Got to be careful here. You don't put the power on too fast. Feed it on nice and gently. Get the power on as it works out on this long back straight where they're pulling over 200 miles an hour. 204 miles an hour they were pulling the other day. Braking very severely, pulling 3.8G down into the chicane. Very gently through here. Out we go, and that's a lap completed. Anyway, let's just go down and see what the boys think down on the grid. What do they think of the circuit?
When I think of Montreal, I think of somehow very difficult circuit because you have to run a low downforce car and you have to brake quite a bit, so it's really not so easy to brake the car down always. And then riding all the curbs, you have to find a compromise between having a soft car to ride the curve, but having as well as a stiff car to keep the car quiet until braking.
Well, when I think about Montreal, I think about the straights. It's very, very long straights, especially the main straight here, coming to this chicane here. It's very long, and of course for us that our car is not very powerful on the engine, so it's seems even longer. And to go quick here, you need to have very good braking.
And this is, of course, the Benetton team. Alexander Wurz, Giancarlo Fisichella are the two drivers. 22 drivers, 10 countries, forming 11 teams. Let's take a look now at the starting grid. On row 1 on the pole, David Coulthard. McLaren starts at the front again. As outside is his teammate, Mika Hakkinen.
As I said just now, for David, it was wonderful to get out there and just prove that he can run quicker than Mika.
Row 2, Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, Giancarlo Fisichella of Italy in the second row for his 3rd straight race.
Yeah, well, both these two are very competitive guys, but they've actually got closer to the McLaren, so we'll be seeing what happens in the race there.
Interesting note on row 3, Ralf Schumacher, the brother of Michael, is right behind him. Jacques Villeneuve of Canada, the current world driving champion.
Well, I think the story there really is the fact that Jacques Villeneuve's got the Williams to work this weekend, and he's right up there.
In row 4, Heinz-Harald Frentzen of Germany in a Williams, Eddie Irvine of Great Britain in a Ferrari.
In fact, Heinz-Harald Frenzen's got right there behind his teammate Jacques Villeneuve, and Eddie Irvine, I'm sure would have preferred to have done better, but he's back there, not far away.
Row 5, John Alesi and Damon Hill.
Yeah, well, Damon Hill is not so happy because he's not quicker than his teammate. Good for Alesi, good for Sauber.
Row 6, a disappointment. Alexander Wurz is there and Johnny Herbert.
Yeah, well, Alexander's had an awful weekend. Lots of problems, engine failures, but he's well back. But we'll see what happens in the race for him.
Row 7, Rubens Barrichello of Brazil and Jarno Trulli of Italy.
Yeah, well, Rubens Barrichello unfortunately had a problem yesterday, lost an engine, so he didn't actually do many laps, but it's a good result.
And in row 8, Olivia Panis, you just met him a moment ago, and Tora Takani of Japan. In row 9, Mika Salo and Shinji Nakano of Japan. In row 10, the countryman from Brazil, Pedro Diniz and Jan Magnussen. And in the last row, row 11, Esteban Tuero of Argentina and Ricardo Rosset of Brazil. Well, we're just minutes away from the start. If you want to be fashionable, well, you want to be with us here. The gathering of the stars, including world-renowned designer Tommy Hilfiger.
Hi, I'm Tommy Hilfiger. Stay with us for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Your information, Peter's a medium, Derek's an L, and I'm an XL. I just wanted you to know. We'll be back in a moment. We are back live. Time is getting closer. Of course, first we'll have the formation lap. Then we'll regather here on the starting grid. The weather a major factor, but so far it has in reality been a minor factor because simply the rain has not fallen as yet. 3 hours ago, 90% chance of rain. About 30 minutes ago, we were down to 50% chance of rain and dropping, which is good news. Now out for the formation lap. What are the drivers looking for here, Derek?
Well, really what they're going to do is check whether they changed anything since this morning's warm-up, which was about 2.5 hours ago. They're just checking that everything's working correctly. They might even have some new brake bits and pieces. It's very hard on brakes, as we said just now. So they're probably just checking the brakes out, checking the pressures are right in the pedals, although the mechanics can do all this in the pits itself. But it's very important to get out there, get the feel of the car. Now the nerves are actually slipping away. The guys are getting to grips. This is what they were paid for. This is what they came all the way to do, is to drive that car. And they'll be much more relaxed now until they come on the grid. And then the Brennan will be pumping, watching those lights, waiting for the start.
Peter Windsor, what's it like in the pits?
Well, I've just been chatting to the technical director of McLaren, Adrian Newey, and he was explaining that yesterday McLaren got the very distinct impression that every time Mika Hakkinen went out to do a qualifying lap, Ferrari sent Michael Schumacher out in front of him to balk him. I'm not going to say any more about that other than that it's totally legal to go out whenever you want, but I think there's a little bit of needle developing between Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher, so look for that on the grid and at the start of the race.
Interesting that you mentioned that, but what is the strategy at the start? You've got the two McLarens on the front row, and guess who they're in front of?
Well, Michael Schumacher and Giancarlo Fisichella.
Okay, well, all right, will there be any games played at the start of the race?
Well, it's quite interesting, really, because you've got the two McLarens. Now, they're not going to want to take one another off, and that is very important. So David Coulthard doesn't want to let Mika Hakkinen by him on the grid, that is for sure. So he's going to be keeping his eyes open to keep Mika from going by. At the same time, Michael knows that the two in front are going to be working hard at that, so they might take their mind off what Schumacher's doing behind them. From my point of view, if only Schumacher can get between the two McLarens, we can see some fireworks.
What about at the start? It's a short start and then a left and a right turn.
Well, it goes straight into a right-hander, then they brake and then take a left-hander leading into a right uphill through the center hairpin. It's very hard because normally you nip down inside somebody in the corner, accelerate through with them. Here, if you go down the inside, you're on the wrong side of the car for the next corner, and therefore you're on the outside, maybe where it's a little bit dusty, although they do look after the circuit very well here. You can see the car back there still have the stickers on the tires. They're actually on brand new tires as they go to the start. This is where the nerves are starting to calm down now because the guys know their heart's starting to pump a little bit as they watch those lights coming on, but they're just getting into position here.
When does it settle down? When do the butterflies go away?
As soon as that flag drops, or as soon as the lights go out, that is when they'll be there. And that's really what happens. It's purely, as soon as I can put my foot on that gas pedal, release that clutch, away we go.
We await the green light. You might want to take your clicker and turn up the volume. On the start, we're going to lay back. We will watch the lights with you, and we will watch with you and listen as we go through the start and through the first three turns. Yellow flag, there's a stall, there's a stall.
But
it's Ralf Schumacher.
Oh, a crash too, look, oh my goodness, Vert's upside down, and one of the Panim, he's upside down in the dirt. They had a real end over end there as they cartwheel through the air. What it is up. But all the drivers are getting out of the cars. Race has been stopped, so we're going to go back to the whole routine again, and Fisichella's going to get another chance to get going. They must have wondered what hit them just then. Totally stunned drivers.
This is all in the gravel, and it is there for that one reason that if you get in trouble, it'll stop the car.
Yeah, what is absolutely remarkable is that nobody has apparently got hurt at all. They're all getting out of the car. Maybe a little bit of bruising going on, but they've got to go back and get in their spare cars. That takes, man, and sort of hard men to go back and do just that. But I think they're all right. They're just checking each other. You're right. Yes, I'm fine. Wirtz is okay, but he's stunned. The problem is Wirtz's car may well be set up, of course, for Fisichella, because Fisichella was ahead of him on the grid. Wirtz is going to go back. He's a lot taller than Giancarlo Fisichella, so the car may well not be set up for him. Here's Alesi working his way back, running back. You just don't need this. You just do not need this sort of situation.
No, but what a great picture that is to see the drivers running back.
Well, let's just watch it again. Schumacher got a brilliant start, just what I hoped and anticipated in between the two McLarens, but then mayhem behind them as too many cars tried to go in. Look at that. That was Wirtz had to take. Look at it. Whoa. He was lucky he didn't land on another car, but just how strong those cars are. A double somersault, but he actually was on the grass. He had nowhere to go. The only way was to try and pull back on the track. Here we go. Let's just ride with Jean Alesi. He was right in the thick of it. And it wasn't really because of the parked car there that had obviously stalled. Here we go. Let's just nip down and see what he's doing. His night looks nice and clean here. He's just going to turn in. Just wait for it all to happen. All around it. It's got too tight. Whoa, the car goes by him upside down. That's Wirtz. And he nearly gets nailed by Panis's Prost. What a disaster. But weren't they lucky boys?
One of the things you pointed out to me on the car is that they sit down so low is that the car can actually do that and they're protected.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about privately yesterday, is they make sure that the heads are lower than that box. You can see the air box behind them and a line down over their heads to the front of the cockpit of the car, so the drivers, when they do flick over like that, cannot get their head damaged. But, of course, if they roll onto another car, there's another story.
Let's go down to Peter.
Thanks, Charlie. I was actually in the Benetton garage watching on the monitor while that accident took place. I was very, very impressed by the attitude of Dave Richards. He watched the accident. He was very calm. They checked immediately that Alex was okay. Spare car is set up for Alex and set up for him at this race. It's all ready. And as I speak, he is just taking off his gloves. He's getting the seat belts held aside for him, and he's climbing into the spare car, cool as a cucumber. Unbelievable professionalism from the Benetton team here. Very, very cool analysis of the situation. And I think you're going to see Wirtz out there doing just the same job that he would have done if there'd been no accident at all.
Derek, you're a driver. How in the world can you do this? How can you spin like that, come trotting back down, climb in another car and say, let's go do it again?
All we want to do is race. We're out there to be racing drivers. We're not worried about those things that happen. They happen. That's part of racing life. It's just the spectators aren't used to seeing it happen very much. For us, it's life. All we want to do is get out there and race. His only ambition is to get out there and drive in this race, to compete, to get points, to win world championships. And that's why they're such strong men.
There's Johnny Herbert as he is coming back.
Yes, he wasn't as far at the grid as he normally would. He didn't really matter today. Johnny's smiling. He must wonder what happened. He's going to take the truck, he said. Can I take the truck? I might be safer in it. Here's a great picture of the start again. Schumacher make that incredible start because Hakkinen didn't make such a good start. And here it is. Look at that. But
got across the infield.
Yeah, well, Alexander Wirtz went down the inside, and instead of trying to keep on the grass, I think it was total commitment. He couldn't get the car round to keep it on the grass. Of course, came back on the track and just caught his wheel and flicked end over end.
Is it that curbing that's going to catch it and flip you in that case?
No, I don't. There's nothing to do with the curbing. No, he purely ran into another car. That's all it was.
All right, we'll have a restart. Don't go away. If the excitement continues this afternoon, we've got a real one for you. We'll be back to Montreal. We are live. We are back at the Grand Prix of Canada, and it had nothing to do with it, but the first thing that we noticed, or the first thing that drew anybody's attention, was the fact that Ralf Schumacher couldn't get started, but he was pretty lucky. He stayed out of all of it. He was behind the action. Peter? Yo, Peter.
Okay, Dave Richards, you haven't actually spoken to Alex yet, but what's your assessment of the accident from what you can see on the monitor?
Well, you know, I'm not too worried about that now. I'm more concentrating on getting him right for the next restart and making sure he's in the best position for the race now. We'll worry about the prognosis of what happened later.
And the spare car is set up for Alex anyway?
For Alex, and it's all looking good. And, you know, he's obviously fitting well, running back from the corner. So, no, we just concentrate now on the next bit.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
Well, that's Johnny Herbert. He's running back, just checking his car. He suddenly thought, I haven't got a car to race today. So he's checking whether they maybe can fix his car, bless his heart. He's running along as they're running it in on the back of the truck. He already offered to drive the truck in the race, and somebody turned him down on that. There's Jean Alesi. He will have the spare car because it's set up for him, and it's his turn to use it. But terrible luck for Sauber. They put so much into Formula One, and of course there they are, losing both cars. However, he will get in the spare car.
Let's take another look at what happened. Lead us to it.
Well, this, of course, is the start, and you'll notice, of course, that poor old Ralf Schumacher's had an appalling time back there, which I don't think had anything to do with it. He's very lucky not to get hit. Schumacher moves through, gets second place between the two McLarens, which is what it required. And here we have a shot. We're riding with Alesi. He's coming down, but on his right, you'll see there is Frentzen. Frentzen comes across, right across him. There's no room for him. Meanwhile, Wirtz is pushed over by Alesi. He flicks up in the air upside down, then Pani comes through on the right-hand side, takes him out as well. So it was very, very lucky, as I said just now, that nobody got hurt. It just shows how strong these cars are these days, and they're built with safety and the driver's safety in mind.
And that, in reality, is the best news that we've had.
Absolutely. No,
now, for our viewers that might not understand, a team brings 3 cars to this event.
Yes, it brings 2 cars, one for each driver, and then a spare, as they call it.
All right, and we'll talk more about that spare, because that's going to come into play here when we come back. We are waiting at the second start of the Grand Prix of Canada. Don't go away. We've got an exciting afternoon in store for you. We are live on Fox Sports Net. This is Charlie Jones along with Derek Bell and Peter Windsor. As we were going away, I asked you the question about the third car, how it is set up, and how is it decided who will be able to drive the third car.
Before you say anything, I must just say Johnny Herbert is now sitting in the spare car. They're starting to rebuild it, and he's getting in it, so he won't need the spare car today. It's unbelievable. Lacey's in the spare, and he's back in his own.
They're rebuilding his own?
Around him as he sits in it. Unbelievable. So anyway, to get back what you're saying, they obviously set the cars. Each team has a spare car, and each week they decide which driver it is that spare car will be set up for, because obviously some drivers might be a foot larger than another. So they set it up for that driver. If something happens like this in an emergency situation, well, they hope that they can change it if they have time. If they don't have time, well, it's tough luck on the driver. And I know in one particular instance, Ford Eddie Irvine jumped into Schumacher's car, and his seatbelts were cutting him so badly in the groin he had to come in the pits to get a minor adjustment. I mean, it's that sort of pain that you can incur in somebody else's seatbelt situation. It's not as easy to change a car as you'd think.
When something like this now happens at the beginning, there'll be a restart. We talked about nerves. Has that all gone away, or will it reappear?
Oh, it'll reappear, and actually, right now there's an amazing sort of dwell in your feelings, and I can feel it as I sit here watching, because there was this big pump up as I watched the start, and as you're in the driver in the car, it's all gone. The race starts off, you go accident, relief that you're not injured, and relief actually that the race isn't continuing almost if you're the driver that's going on. You come back round, and now they're sitting there trying to get the energy back again to get the adrenaline going.
Let's go down to Peter.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, Johnny Herbert sitting in the car, very cool as well. They've just put the tyre warmers back on. They've loaded off the jacks. The only damage to the car was the left front steering arm, and one of the mechanics, I think, broke the 100-yard dash to come back with one, and they just screwed it on the car. Simple as that. They're taping up the left front brake duct as I speak. Obviously, a little bit of damage there, and they're going to release the car, and Johnny's going to be on the grid just in a few minutes.
Now, Derek, Mika Häkkinen and David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher, they were way out in front of what happened. They weren't affected at all. Is that correct?
Yes, they were pretty well out in front of it, I must admit. But of course, all sorts of things happen, and you know, they wouldn't have even looked in the mirrors. They aren't looking at all behind them. But quite a few cars got through that instant before it happened. Thank goodness.
When that happens in front of you from a driver's standpoint, what are you taught to do?
Well, really, the most important thing is to get out of the way as much as you can. You don't want to be involved, but of course, as you saw, here we go again. As you watch this replay, and you just watch these guys going through. Look at that mass coming there. Poor old Wirtz going through. Look, upside down, flicking it across the road. That was amazing. And look at that wheel bouncing down. Poor old Wirtz has lost a lot of wheels in the last couple of weeks. But they're getting out now. They're both facing each other. They're probably going, that was lucky, but was it your fault or was it mine? I don't think either of them know where they were at the time. But of course, there's no fright at all right now. All they are is so relieved. They're right. Look at him. Thumbs up. You all right? Absolutely fine. There is no fear, no fright. It's sheer relief that they're out of the car and unhurt.
Now there was a shot in Monaco, and the reaction was a little bit different.
Yeah, well, of course, there is. It depends if you get injured or stunned. They aren't even stunned. These guys, it wasn't a bad crash as far as they're concerned. It wasn't a very high speed. And they didn't actually hit anything. It's when you hit something solid that you get hurt. If you're spinning and rolling, you're actually not getting hurt, famous last words, but it really doesn't happen.
What about the condition of these athletes?
Oh, everybody's in incredible peak condition. Something you would make a whole program about. Everybody works out like crazy. I remember, in fact, when they used to have the world superstars, Jody Scheckter, who was world champion, was actually world champion superstar. Oh yeah, very, very fit, all-round fitness.
All right. All right, stay with us. We'll be back with the Grand Prix of Canada. That's the promise. We're getting set now for the restart. They're rebuilding a car. We're going to have a lot of fun this afternoon.
Welcome back to the Canadian Grand Prix live, where there's been a first corner accident. The race is going to be restarted. I'm with 3-time world champion Jackie Stewart, owner of the Stewart Grand Prix team. Jackie, your cars are okay, but what was your assessment of that accident?
Well, it's a classic first corner accident in Formula One, and Canada's been historically difficult to get through the first 2 corners actually without an incident. And I was rather doubtful if that would ever occur in this event, and even in the restart I think we're still vulnerable. It seemed to me that Watts went for a gap that wasn't there, went onto the grass, just lost all traction and of course stopping power. The others were already slowing down. He interlocked wheels, and that's what got him in the air.
And luckily, of course, no one hurt.
Yeah, very lucky, and he's back in the car now. He's going to restart. He's obviously been to the medical centre, just been quickly checked over. They seem to think he's capable of driving now and ready for the restart.
Well, let's hope for a safe race now.
Let's hope so, yes.
From a standpoint of the drivers now, here, for example, is Mika Hakkinen, and I know this is not on his mind, but he just got married a week ago. And I always wondered what he said to his wife to me. He says, you know, let's get married, honey. Guess where we're going on the honeymoon?
Yeah, what a way to spend it, eh?
Yes, yes.
From Monaco to Montreal. I'm sure
Area, his wife's name. But now you've got to mentally, you've got to go through all of this again, right?
Exactly, yeah, and it's very tiring. It's really tiring. The adrenaline, the relaxation, and then coming back again, it's really very tiring. I must point out at this point that in fact Johnny Herbert will not probably make the start grid from the grid. He'll actually have to go and start from the pit lane because he hasn't got out within a recognised time, which is a pity, but which means he'll start from the back of the field, which is a great pity. But nonetheless, at least he'll be in the race, and who knows, he could work his way through. And if they have another shot like that at the start, at least he shouldn't be part of it. You see it all happen in front of him.
2 minutes until our formation lap. When we're set to go again, will everybody go through the first 3 turns just like they did the last time? Well, or are you a little more tender?
It'll make a bit of difference. They'll be a little bit more aware. They'll be reminded. But they didn't need reminding of that last year. They had a similar situation, not as bad, of course. It'll be going through their mind, but you know, these guys are so competitive. They've just got to go and do their thing.
David Coulthard is on the pole here. We've talked about the pole position to give you an idea. Schumacher, Hill, Schumacher 3 times, fifth finish, and the other 2 first, Hill a first, and Prost a first. And it has paid off, and it's paid off for McLaren this year, being on the post, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But it was interesting just to see whether Schumacher made that start. Now, this time, it might not be quite so easy for him. I think that Hakkinen will have seen, oh my goodness, I've got to sharpen up my start. But remember, the other thing is the wear on the clutch. They've just given these cars 16,500 revs on the rev limiter and then let the clutch out. They've done that once. These clutches aren't built to do start after start after start. So some of it could be a lot of fatigue on those clutches. Something might happen there. So let's just watch out and hope it doesn't, of course.
Of the cars up front, who's the quickest off the grid?
Well, David Coulthard's had some outstanding starts in his career. And everybody said, look at the way Coulthard goes off the grid in many, many races last year. This year, he's been very good, but they've all been starting well. And basically, it's a matter of getting those revs up and releasing that clutch, and off it goes. It's not quite as difficult as slipping the clutch when it was a foot clutch. It's up on the hand, of course, on the pedal, on the paddle.
Peter Windsor. Your
I
thoughts?
think Jackie Stewart highlighted one of the problems here, which is that corner. It's that left and then that right. It's very unusual to find a circuit with an S-bend as the first corner, and you can actually be on the outside of the left-hander to be on the inside for the right, and a lot of guys try to do that. So all of a sudden we've got 2-3 cars abreast going into the first corner after the start of a race from a standing start. And I think what Jackie was saying in that last piece was that it's a recipe almost for a first corner accident. Let's hope there aren't any more, and everybody knows what can happen. And as Derek says, everybody's now thinking about that. They'll be slightly more cautious. But it is an interesting first morning.
And we are underway. This is a formation lap. They flash the green light. I believe they're racing.
No, they won't be going yet. No,
they're going
the green light goes to start the formation lap. And of course, you'll see them all.
I got excited.
Good. It's good to get excited, Charlie. You might have a rev as well. Watch out. Hope your clutch doesn't slip. Anyway, they're working their way around. They've got to do that again in just a moment. Obviously, they're just trying to get the sensation of it all. Remember, they've got rubber down. Where they sat before, 25 minutes ago, there is a little bit of rubber. And they'll try and use that to get the extra traction when they're starting. So they'll come back probably on exactly the same bit of rubber that they just started then and started the previous start. It's all, you know, thinking man's game, this. So they'll be doing that as they're going around, must get back in exactly the same place. And if only I could make the start like I did before, Schumacher's thinking I'd be right there. But they should be they're going to get in. There's Johnny Herbert working his way down the pit road now. He will start at the end of the pit lane after all the cars have gone started on their first lap.
And there he is as he is getting set.
Yeah, very, very good. It's lovely to see him doing that. Lovely to see him getting out there. I mean, he obviously didn't have the worst accident of the lot, but of course, when your car gets damaged, it's a bit worrying. He's worried now. Is my car going to actually be all right? Is it going to be, you know, right on the point? We'll have to wait and see. We praise and hope so. But a lot of them just spun in the shingle. That's what happened. I think that's what Johnny.
And the race will run the full 69 scheduled laps.
Yeah, well, of course, it happened within the first few feet of the start. We was talking with Peter just now about this start. As they go off the start, it actually turns to the right. The track veers around to the right. So these guys are at the back. They're doing 150 by the time they get there. They're not in your actual family saloon. You know, they get 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.2 seconds. So these guys are shifting by the time they get, so they peel off, go around that turn, and then you have to brake and go around the left-hander. And as you saw, it was like, you know, 2 pints won't go into a pint bottle.
Meanwhile, Johnny Herbert is just sitting at the end of pit lane, and he will be the last one out on the start.
Yes, he's poor guy's got to wait. They're all nervous, and he's going to start from there, right on the back of the grid. Wait for everybody to go through, and when they're all gone, he's allowed to go. Not much of a way to go racing, but either that, he was on the 4 o'clock flight back to London. So here he is, sitting there, and he's all getting warmed up, ready to go. But of course, his tires won't be warm like these guys.
David Coulthard is on the pole, Häkkinen outside of him on row 1, and right behind him is Michael Schumacher. And again, as we did before, we'll step back. We'll watch the lights. You will be able to enjoy the start of the race.
Oh dear, look at the McLaren going slowly, causing a bottleneck. What a chaos there, but Schumacher they're on the grass again. Oh, look, he spun. Oh my goodness gracious me. That's Ralph having another moment. He was right. Look at them on the grass. It's like a Formula 3 race. Bodywork everywhere. Poor Johnny Herbert. Is he caught up in another one? There's a Lacey. I bet he can't believe it. Look at it, stuck right across the back.
And Truly also is
stuck in it as well. I bet he can't believe it. That's unbelievable. Of course, they were probably, I don't know, they might even think of stopping the race, but we don't know. There's no flags at the moment. But of course, we got Fisichella in second place, but that was an appalling start by the McLaren. Ron Dennis is pointing. The fire trucks are going out. Of course, Ron Dennis wants the race stopped because he's got his one of his cars as well down on the grid. Ron Dennis, his old Schumacher having a go past Fisichella, working his way down the back straight away, coming to the casino hairpin. Is there going to be an incident? Let's hope not already, Michael. Don't bump him already. No, working his way around. Michael gets away. He's got better traction coming out. He's got a better line, and now he's up to second. But what a dismal start for the second of the McLarens. It was appalling, and Ron Dennis would love the race stopped so he can put his boys back at the front again.
So it's Coulthard, Fisichella, Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve, Frentzen, as they finally begin to start to sort themselves out, as they now have completed, are you ready for this? 1 lap, safety car is out. Safety car is out.
Yeah, there's too much chaos. These guys, I hope they see that as they whistle down this corner, but their crew will be telling them that the race has been safety cars out. Course has been full course yellow. They're going to be come around. At this time, they're actually just behind the safety car, which means they may well start. I'm not sure about this, but they may well start behind the safety car. They haven't said stop yet. They just said safety car. Now Michael's. Oh, look at Michael sliding up there. What's he doing? He's lost a tire. Yeah, now that's Irvine. He's lost a tire in that melee at the start, so he wants to get back to the pits. Here he is, coming in the pit road, flailing rubber at the back. Let's hope, don't go too fast, Eddie. You're going to damage that under tray and damage your rear wing, and that would put you right out of it. What do you think, Peter?
Eddie Irvine rushing in to get the left rear changed here. Safety car out means they're going to parade up behind the safety car while they get all that debris and the damaged cars removed. I think the good news is they're not stopping the race, and there's not going to be yet another start. And so the Grand Prix is in progress, and every lap they take past the pits now is counting. Mika Hakkinen now moving very, very slowly down the pit lane. He obviously had a problem. He got away reasonably well from the line and then just slowed before the first corner. We need to find what happened there.
Looks like he might have done some damage. There we go, Peter. Some damage to the back of Eddie Irvine's car. They're checking it out. They have a bit of time because obviously he'll be able to catch slightly up. He won't get back into his same place that he was. Here he goes. Out he goes. Irvine's out. Obviously nothing wrong with the car, but he's going to have to fill up at the back of the grid. But wonder what happened to Mika Hakkinen. He came in very, very quietly and coasted straight into the pit road and straight to his pit.
Let's go back and see what happened on this start.
Well, look at the way that David Coulthard had the angle of his car. Mika Hakkinen makes no movement at all, like he broke the transmission or something there. Cars off the road. Look at Rolfie, baby. He's flying around like nobody's business. I mean, what a way to start. Look at them coming through. How there wasn't more damage there, I'll never know. And then we have the same people involved. Johnny Herbert just sliding through there. But I bet Jean Alesi can't believe his misfortune. And Jarno Trulli again involved in that incident. Now look at the McLaren on the right-hand side of your picture. Dropping back, dropping back, dropping back as it all happens. Oh, my goodness, there's... You just can't see it.
That was one of the Jordans cutting across.
You can't pick out who is doing what. But Mika, meanwhile, is going along meekly, saying we have a major problem with our car, and he's cruising around, probably jammed in the gear or something, because he did get around the whole lap. But look at the flames underneath the Prost. Somebody's going to get a fire extinguisher, and they're a bit quick. The chap doesn't look like he's got quite the right fireman's equipment on there, wearing a Trilby hat or a fedora or something. Not quite your actual equipment, but as long as he puts the fire out, that's the main thing. Whoa, look at that. There's Ralf Schumacher coming through, totally out of control. And of course, out wide goes Frentzen. He takes it out wide. Here we get a bird's eye view here, of course, driving with Mika Hakkinen. Terrible start for Mika. We don't know what it is. David Coulthard dives across in front of him, and then they all will go by either side of Mika. All Mika wants to do is get out of the way. I don't want to be in anybody's way. But of course, I think it was the start of it, because the guys keep their eyes on what's happening to Mika rather than watching just in front of him. They see this slow-moving object. All they can see at that level, 18 inches off the road, is that the back of the car in front. They can't see over him.
Safety car is out. It will stay out until all of the debris is, of course, removed. And the cranes, a multi-number of cranes all around the course here, they'll lift the cars out and place them in a safe place.
Yeah, this is something we haven't seen. At least I haven't seen it for a long while, where they've had I think Trulli's looking for yet another car. I think it could be difficult for him. He's had a pretty busy afternoon there for Prost. Prost must wonder when his money's going to come up the right way up.
All right, and while the debris and the cars are being removed, we'll take a break. Don't go away. We have more exciting action for you here at the Grand Prix of Canada. Welcome back to the Grand Prix of Canada. The safety car is still out. Let's go down to Peter.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I'm in the McLaren garage at the moment, where they are readying the spare car in the hope that it's going to take longer than the officials think to remove the wreck, and that they might stop the race. That's the only condition in which Mika would be able to jump into the spare car. And it's a new race, of course, as we had before. They don't actually know what happened to Mika. He made a very clean getaway from the line and then slowed almost immediately, a little bit as Alexander Wurz did in the San Marino Grand Prix, you'll remember. And in that case, it was found that his car just jammed in third gear, and he'd had to do a complete lap jammed in third gear. That could be the problem with Mika. We don't know yet, but the McLaren team are working hard.
One more lap has been reported before we'll have the restart.
The way we'll tell is when those lights go out on the top of that safety car. We'll know that lap they're going to start.
So it is David Coulthard who will be leading, and now let's go back to the replay.
Just look at this. This is the accident. The car's slow motion here. As Jarno Trulli's got the wheel in his hand. He has to take the wheel off to get out, and he suddenly thought, my goodness, $10,000 fine if I don't put it back in the car. So he's running back to put his wheel with his car. I thought he was grabbing a fire extinguisher when it happened. He's getting the heck out of it. I'm out of here, boy. I don't like the look of that.
Explain that rule, though, for our viewers that might not understand it.
Well, basically, they want the driver to leave the wheels with the car, because what happens often, they used to take the wheel out and throw it in frustration. And, of course, it was, just looked scruffy. It was untidy for motor racing. At the same time, the marshals come along and they want to move the car, and they can't because there's no wheel on it. So they said, we're going to penalise you guys, and they actually have to get out of the car and put the wheel back on in about 10 seconds. Nobody's been penalised for being 11 seconds, but it's the principle of it all.
It's a good idea.
I must just point out one thing here. Some people at home might be wondering, why are they swerving from side to side? when they normally go in a straight line. The reason is they're actually keeping their tyres up to temperature. It's very cold here today. The actual track temperature out there is 57 degrees. Last year it was 88 degrees. So consequently, these guys are out there trying to keep the tyres up to temperature, because when they started the actual practice just now, or the actual race, they went out and they had tyre warmers on them. We saw them on the grid. They brought them up to 200 degrees. Here they are out there, and they're going around the track, and it's bringing the tyre temperatures down. So they're out there weaving the cars from side to side to try and keep the temperature up, retain the temperature, we'll build up some temperature, so that when they go off the start, they don't spin the wheels. The lights are out. They'll be starting in single file. They're not allowed to overtake until they pass that line.
And in case you just joined us, well, you've missed a lot of action already. We had an accident on the first start and an accident on the restart, and we are now underway again on the third start of the competition, this time behind the safety car. And it's David Coulthard who is out in front. He is followed by Michael Schumacher, and running in third is Giancarlo Fisichella. The local favorite, Jacques Villeneuve, is currently running in fourth. And that will make a lot of people in Montreal happy.
Well, Barrichello's right up there as well, which is great for Jackie Stewart Ford team. They're right up there.
We talked earlier about butterflies and nervousness and settle down, and now after two accidents and a safety car, is the adrenaline back up, and are they at racing speed mentally?
Yeah, they're not thinking about what happened before. Okay. That was the start. We're only thinking of this next corner, the casino hairpin with Coulthard. That's all he's thinking about. Schumacher fairly close behind in close attendance, not wanting to make any silly moves at this stage, settling down, allowing those tyres to get up to temperature, in fact.
What about fuel? What effect has all of this had on the fuel?
Well, it means they're going to have used the fuel, but of course the race, because it started, the race laps were being counted off, the total number of laps as they went on. Once they were behind the pace car, it was still the race time. Barrichello sweeps out to go by Frenzen there. Frenzen, good pass by Barrichello at the end of the back straight, and the Stewart Ford is not fast on the straight. He's got this Ford engine which does lack a certain amount of power, but he always seems to run very well here, Barrichello, and here he is well up there in the race at this time.
And through 6 laps, Coulthard, Schumacher, Fisichella, followed by Jacques Villeneuve. Last night in Montreal, I went into a newsstand, and a man noticed my credentials in Grand Prix, and I said yes, and he said, "Oh, Jacques, my man, I've got $10 on him." I think the whole city is $10 on him.
Sure, well, he's the local hero, and I would. He's world champion. He's one heck of a driver, and he deserves it. He's been IndyCar champion too. He's a wonderful driver. Just that things have frustrated him somewhat this year because the Williams hasn't been up to it. But look at Schumacher all over the back of David Coulthard. David's going to have his work cut out this afternoon for Michael. Goodyear have improved the tyre. They have a better rear compound this weekend to balance out the good front they had from Monte Carlo. The car is closer, and I was talking to Ferrari this morning, and they said, you wait, we're within 2/10 of the McLarens now on qualifying times. We'll be another 10th closer when we get to the French Grand Prix, and then the fireworks will begin. But Michael is right there, and of course he is slipstreaming that Mercedes. And Mercedes, they're doing 200 odd miles an hour as they come down. Michael's in his slipstream, pulls out to have a look. No, can't get by. He just doesn't have that thrust to zip by him.
What effect does the slipstream have if you get in too close?
Well, of course, what it actually does now is there's so much buffeting that actually takes the air away from his airbox, and Michael starts to lose power. Although he has less drag, he loses power. But he's all over David here, and this is just what Schumacher wants. Bug David to death. He did this in Argentina, and of course David made a bad mistake. Michael went by and then won the race.
And you can tell by the numbers that Schumacher and Coulthard are running away from the rest of the field.
They certainly are, yes. They're having a real go. See, normally if Hakkinen was there, it wouldn't happen quite as much, but they are running away. But, you know, you've got two very determined drivers up there. Schumacher, without a doubt, the cream of the crop. And David Coulthard out to prove how good he is. He was on pole here last year, very talented driver, and he wants to get up there and prove that he is the top man at McLaren.
Well, and last year, in reality, he had this race run in a whole series of strange circumstances when he came into the pit, and then he had an engine problem, and then he got it started, and there was the accident, and the race was called, and he just got trapped in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's motor racing. It happens to us quite a lot.
Let's go back down to Peter. He's with Jean Alesi.
Jean, very, very unlucky start for you both times in the Sauber. Out of the race now. You must be very, very disappointed.
Yeah, I am. It's just it makes me upset because I have a big experience, and it's the first time I'm seeing something like that. The Grand Prix is not just 2 laps, you know, and the first time it can happen mistakes, but the second start for me was really too much.
And what specifically can you talk about that?
I think it's for you to check on TV, because I just hear some, I just feel some big bump on my car.
A lot of hard work and very short race. Bad luck, Sean.
So Coulthard and Schumacher continue to battle for the lead of the race. They stay out in front, again separating themselves from the rest of the field.
I must admit, I haven't seen two guys at the front of the field dicing at 200 miles an hour this close for a long time. They're about 6 feet apart at 200 miles an hour. It's a very exciting experience to watch.
And two very excellent drivers are there.
Oh yeah, they're not going to make too many mistakes. David Coulthard's got to settle down. Somehow David has to, in his own mind, has to forget that Schumacher's there. Very difficult thing to do when you've got two-time world champion on your tail, but he's really got to shut off his mirrors and just drive and use all the road.
Coulthard has 4 career victories. Schumacher has 28 career victories. This for Schumacher is his 108th Grand Prix start, and he has won 27% of the time that he has been running.
He's an outstanding driver of our times. It's just so sad that he didn't actually get there racing full-time against the great Ayrton Senna. It would have been incredible to see these two talents.
Schumacher this year retired in one race, finished 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then 10th at Monaco.
Two Williams cars very close together there. Very intriguing to see how they match it out, because obviously Jacques Villeneuve, his home circuit, he wants to put a bit of a mark on this race, but he's not having it all his own way at the moment. He's got Heinz-Harald Frentzen all over the back of him, and Jack's going to want to sort of just ease away a bit if he can. Remember, there's so much inter-team rivalry amongst these drivers, and of course they'll soon be talking about next year's contracts.
60 laps remaining, so we have completed 9 of the 69 laps. The total mileage is right around 190 miles, and the weather is holding. In fact, it's clearing up just a bit, so the rain may stay away for us.
Well, I think so. I don't think we need to worry about the weather. It's funny, it's quite a sort of an unusual cloud formation. Look at that shot there of Barrichello out in front of the two Williams. Doing a tremendous job for the Ford. He didn't get much chance in qualifying to do that well, and they did say if only we could have done a few more laps before the engine cracked up on us, we would have done a great job. But Barrichello went well here last year, and here he is doing a great job today. It's just a matter, I think, that the Stewart have done this work on the chassis. They lengthened it a bit in tests before Silverstone, and it seems to have made the difference between a car that's undrivable and a car that's fairly drivable.
Michael Schumacher running second in the Ferrari. They were talking to us about the changes that they had made in the car.
Well, I must just talk about this. Frentzen was having a real look down the inside of Villeneuve at the end of the straight. But unfortunately, Villeneuve was braking as late as he possibly could. Remember, with these carbon fiber brakes, it's very, very difficult to outbrake somebody in certain situations. But at 200 miles an hour, the braking area is relatively long. Say 100 miles an hour, it isn't so long. So, of course, there's a good opportunity in that straight to dip out and go down inside somebody and pop in there into the corner. And, of course, Frentzen must not take his teammate Jacques Villeneuve off. That does not go down well back in camp.
And another thing to take into consideration is when you come into the hairpins and you're braking down, all of a sudden you're pulling several G's.
Oh, you certainly are. You're pulling 3G over 3G. That means in sort of physical terms that your head and your helmet weigh something between 60 and 70 pounds. Well, that's not just one little tug at 60 and 70. It's braking, turning back the other way, time and time again. That is very physical, very wearing on the drivers. Hence, as you said earlier, how fit are they? They're very fit. Oh, dear. That looks like it's Barrichello. He looks like he went out very wide. He lost his brakes there, somehow coming to the casino hairpin, got out very wide on the marbles, and of course lost some time. That's what it looked like, but we only caught him at the end of the incident.
And meanwhile, running 1-2 is David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher as they come back past the start-finish line and through the leading S turn where we had all of the problems earlier in the race. 11 laps completed.
Fisichella. Oh, here we go. Here's Barrichello locking his brakes up. He just couldn't make it. Went out really wide. He's grabbing it, trying to hold the car back on the road. He's right out wide. He's actually on the dirt. You're a very lucky boy, Rubens. Gets him back on the road, and on he goes to fight another day. But
it is Coulthard who is leading, Schumacher running second, Fisichella is third, and Jacques Villeneuve is fourth, and that's the battle around right now between third and fourth.
Barrichello slipped back to 7th position, but you know, he made a good move early. Maybe he can make his move back through the field yet again. But boy, look at these two. They're running as if they were one. I wouldn't like to beat DC right now. David Coulthard, he's got Michael Schumacher right up his tailpipe. He's in what I have to say is a probably superior car, but Michael's getting the toe down the straights. These Mercedes engines are pulling something round about 700 horsepower. They're really quite something.
Where's the best place to set him up to pass him if he wants to, or does he want to stay behind him?
Right here. This is the spot at the end of the braking area, but the braking is so severe, they brake so hard. He's up to get 180 miles an hour as he sweeps down into this left-hander as he goes for center hairpin. Look at the speed or the power that McLaren has. That Mercedes engine, it's got so much power as it accelerates out of the corner, and Michael's going to have to battle with that.
Mika Hakkinen is listed on the television monitor as retired. Peter, what's the story?
Well, I've just been talking to a very dejected Mansur Ojei, co-owner of the McLaren team, and the story is it's a broken gearbox. Don't know much more than that, but I would guess that it's probably jammed in gear, as Vertsens did in San Marino. So Mika Hakkinen, unfortunately, out of the race, broken gearbox.
All right, thank you, Peter. And the battle continues between David Coulthard, who is leading, and Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, Michael's locking all his brakes up behind David there. Meanwhile, he's fiddling with his brake balance, trying to get that balance better so he doesn't lock them up as much. Remember that the McLaren in front is actually on Bridgestone, and of course Michael's on Goodyear's behind him. Interesting to see just how these two tires are comparing right now.
Jacques Villeneuve, the current world champion, his best finish this year was 4th at San Marino.
Get back on it again because the outfield is nice and firm. It's damp, but it's very, very firm.
Meanwhile, there's still a long way to go in the race. Damon Hill, by the way, is in 6th place. Now, if he finishes in 6th, that is 1 point. Jordan has not scored a point this season. So a little bit of a bright light.
Here we go.
Jordan.
Just watch this. Look at Pedro. He just got too close behind the Stewart. Just far too close. Braked. Had to brake a bit harder because he was going to ram him up the rear and lost it himself. But he's kept it going. Is he going to get going again? Well, he looked like he was moving. We'll have to wait and see if he made it back onto the track properly. Now the race is starting to settle down here, Charlie, and you'll see that Schumacher is just playing his game as, 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second, loses a bit in acceleration. Look at the debris. Somebody looks like they took it off the road onto the grass there and brought loads of soil back on there with them. It might have been Pedro Diniz, of course, after his excursion just now. You don't like that when you come around a corner at 170 mile an hour to find half a playing field lying in front of you.
And we mentioned the fact that David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher separating themselves from the field. Well, they certainly have done that from a time standpoint.
Look at this debris all over the road. As I said, there's a playing field. Somebody's been turfing out there. I don't know who it was, but there we go. Look, it's Pedro. He's got it all up his ducts. That is just what you don't need when you're following somebody. He must be playing havoc with his temperature.
Was that what he picked up when he was off in the grass?
Absolutely. Yeah, he took off the field when he's lowering it and laying it as he goes around. They could well give him a black flag with that little yellow circle in the middle, which means you're causing trouble, mechanical problems to other people. Would you like to come in the pits and have a chat?
If it is,
we'll do that.
If it is just big chunks of grass, what effect would it have if you run over it?
Well, it really deflects one of these cars. I mean, these cars only have 2 inches of ride height, and that bit of turf looks like it's about 4 inches high to me. But of course, it gives the other guys a chance to overtake. They're all having a little bit of weave around, and it just deters the driver's concentration for that split second, and they go nipping by.
Jackie Stewart's 2 drivers are running 7th and 8th in the race.
Yeah, well, we saw Rubens Barrichello, of course, was going tremendously well.
He was up further.
Yeah, he was up further. He's dropped back now. And here is Johnny Herbert, who started last. He's working his way through the field like a dose of salt.
And that's a car that's been rebuilt.
Yeah, well, partially. They did quite a lot of work to it, that's for sure. Johnny's all over the back of the Ford, locking it up as he goes into the corner, but can't do much about it. Safety car's coming out again. This has never happened. I haven't seen a safety car as long as I can remember, operating in Formula One as an expert.
Why is that? Because we're used to seeing it like with IndyCar races or in NASCAR. I'm seeing the safety car out. Why not in Formula One?
Well, they never like. Here we go. Let's just watch this again, if I may, Charlie. Like, you can see all the stuff. It's all actually on the top of his under tray, in his diffusers on the side of the car, up in the area where the air goes into the radiators, which of course is going to overheat his engine as well, so he would probably have to come in anyway. But they're going to slow the race down and get the marshals to remove that grass, because it's going to dry out very quickly. Instead of being damp grass or a damp turf, it's become very, very hard, and a car could really get deflected off. As you can see there, look at it, they're weaving around that piece of grass, and if you're the guy behind, you don't really see it if you're slipstreaming behind, and that's a big problem.
Now we have the safety car out again. We're back down. Those are the ones that are out of the race, with Hakkinen retired in the 4 crashes that we've lost. The use of the fuel consumption now is going down. Does this mean that some of those that were planning 2 stops will go to 1 stop?
Well, it should.
Did it change your strategy?
It won't change the strategy much at all. And Ricardo Rosset came in. We're not quite sure why, but he nipped in. He, of course, is in one of the Tyrrells, and he nipped in just for a quick check over. Maybe he ran over a piece of that turf. Who knows? We didn't really see, but they'd have used it and probably divert to a two-stop strategy. Well, Rosset's had a pretty lean year this year.
It's nice to see him. It was nice to see him on the grid.
Yeah, well, I'm sure his team are very happy, Mum and Dad too. But he's had a lurid time at the back. Here we go. Oh, this is probably why it happened. No, this is the Neats pulling back on, bringing the turf with him. Look at the stuff he's brought on. Of course, he doesn't mind. Look at it. I've never seen like that. It's a wonder his front wheels are on the road. It's a wonder he hasn't actually really damaged something. I think if it had actually been in the front of that front wheel, it would have torn the wings off. But he's got it on the under tray, right tucked up there against the radiators. And of course, they have this slight aerodynamic device down the side, and that's what's caught it up.
Let's go down to Peter Windsor.
Yeah, I'm in the Arrows pit here, and they've filled a complete bag full of turf and grass from the car. It's just like, I mean, every divot from the US Masters in one bag, if you like. But they did the right thing, of course, to put the pace car up, because they've got to get that stuff off the track. All that weaving, if you're following another car closely and he suddenly weaves, you don't know what it's for, and it's an incredibly dangerous situation. But there are a few smiles on the faces of various people here in the Arrows pit, so there is a light-hearted side to Formula One.
But they left some divots out of the race course too. All right, we'll step aside for a moment. Don't go away. We are live on Fox Sports Net with the Grand Prix of Canada. We're back live here in Montreal. This is the 4th restart of the race. David Coulthard is leading, and Michael Schumacher is running behind him. But then we've had an interesting situation that happened while we had the safety car out.
Yeah, well, of course, we had the situation here where we had Pedro de Nitz in between Michael Schumacher and Fisichella. But he's actually not got in the way anymore, and he's eased himself out to allow the cars to get around him a little bit. But it would have been a bit interesting at the start. But of course, this makes it very interesting. Damon Hill having a tremendous race on the other Jordan. He didn't qualify well at all. He qualified down there something like in 10th place. He wasn't happy, but felt a lot happier, he told me, when I chatted with him before the race. And he said what they did this morning made it work.
Is this type of a restart becoming a disadvantage for David Coulthard and for Michael Schumacher, because they've been running 1-2 and they've been stepping away from everybody else in the field, and now they've got to do it all over again?
The biggest disadvantage is for poor David Coulthard, because he gets himself in a rhythm and he has to do a restart, and he knows he's got to handle Michael Schumacher all over the back of him again at a restart, and there's always that possibility that Michael will overtake him.
A lot of time remaining. When will Michael make his move?
I don't think he will, personally. I think he's going to sit there. He's going to bother David. He's going to bother him to distraction. Distraction being the operative word. Damon having a hard time there with Barry Kettle all over the back of him. Meanwhile, Magnussen's behind's having a great race too. But I think David will sit there, Michael will sit there and wait for David just to make a minor mistake, and Michael will go through. We've seen him. Give him an inch, and he takes a mile.
It's David Coulthard, followed by Michael Schumacher, then Fisichella, Jacques Villeneuve, Frentzen. After Frentzen is David Hill in 6th, Barrichello, Magnussen, Herbert, Nakano, Panis, Salo, Cuero, Wirtz, Irvine, Rosette, and
I'm wondering what's happened to David Coulthard. He's disappeared from our screens. Where did he go? Michael Schumacher's on his own. Schumacher's well away on his own. There's David. He must have had a moment somewhere and dropped back. Don't know if he's losing power or what. Yeah, he's lost power. He's going slowly as well. But he's got the engine running, but he hasn't got any power. What a disaster for McLaren. Who would have thought that one going out with gearbox trouble and the other one after about 20 laps going out with another problem? Leaves Michael Schumacher, Fisichella behind him. Schumacher's just got to keep that lot together. And you said just now, what's he going to do? David Coulthard decided that for him. Well, mechanically it did anyhow.
He just had to wait.
Yes, he had to wait, and that's what he intended. Oh, here we have an accident. Now That's Mika Salo. Oh my goodness me, he's lost it big time. Knocked a wheel off, and there's Johnny Herbert involved again in an instant. Maybe not the same incident, of course, but Johnny's off in the shingle, and Salo's getting well out of the way. But look at the debris. It looked like almost like he burst a tire, and it shredded itself all the way up the road. But obviously the grass is very, very wet. There's Herbert down at the hairpin. He's stranded there. They're going to have to pick him out because he's obviously stalled it. This race has turned into something quite astonishing. Of course, the black car there of Dönitz, you can see, is really, in real terms, a lap behind. And obviously he's rather confusing the issue and no doubt upsetting the two Williams drivers. Here's a ride with David Coulthard into the pit lane. He's probably going to go straight into his pit and park it.
He went into the garage.
He's gone in the garage, and that's it. He's parked it. You won't be seeing him again today.
This will be the first time this season that both McLarens will not finish a race. They've always had at least one of them finish.
Just shows you safety car's going out again. I can't believe this. I haven't seen, I said it before, but 3 times in a race. Johnny doing some autographs on the way back, just in case he doesn't get around that part again. David must be so disappointed. That was his one opportunity to get 10 points and catch up with Mika Hakkinen and slow that gap down. Meanwhile, Michael Schumacher, if he does well, he's coming in for his pit stop under the safety. This is a very good move for Schumacher to come in under the yellow caution.
Let's get down to Peter.
Yeah, well, Michael Schumacher's coming in, taking advantage of the safety car situation, one would suppose, in true IndyCar tradition. Look, let's watch his Ferrari pit work. It's usually fantastic, and he should be out in the sort of 8-second area. There you go, 9.1. Very good stop from Michael Schumacher. As ever, very cool head and using his brain.
Very good move there, and he comes out not far back at all. Let's watch, see what happens to David Coulthard. You actually can't tell at all. Suddenly it just loses forward momentum. Oh my goodness, there's one of the two Williams. It's Frenzen's off the road. Oh my goodness, he's really upset. He's thrown his wheel. He's going to have to go and get his wheel out of the shingle and bring it back and put it in the car.
And now he places it in. He saves himself the $10,000 fine.
They look really upset. Frenzen must be more upset than they are.
The new leader in the race is Giancarlo Fisichella, just to bring you up to date.
Let's just watch Schumacher come out now. What's he going to do? Does he run into no, he puts oh my goodness. Michael just went out straight inside Frenzen, and Frenzen can't turn the corner. That was a disaster. Frenzen is not going to be happy with his German compatriot there. It didn't look like it was really Michael's fault, but it looked like Frenzen wasn't aware that he was coming down inside him, and Frenzen couldn't get into the braking area. They look really upset, they do.
By 22nd, it's an incredibly comfortable situation for the Benetton team. They've got to make the most of it. This is a critical pit stop. Let's have a look and see what's going on.
Meanwhile, Damon Hill had some problems, slowed down on the track, came back in with a quick pit stop, then he went back out at racing speed.
It was almost like somebody hadn't switched the fuel on. But he's back out there again, but of course he's down somewhat. It's an astonishing situation. We have Fisichella in the lead, Schumacher second, as you said, by several laps. Schumacher still clocking in fastest laps. Barrichello in the Stewart Ford is in 3rd place. Damon Hill 4th, or was. Wirtz is probably now 4th, and Irvine would be 5th. So Wirtz and Irvine, there's Alexander Wirtz as we look, working his way up through the field. Close shot of Schumacher at the controls. And Irvine, of course, Michael there coming up on the back of Jacques Villeneuve, who, as you know, lost a tremendous amount of time in the pits early in the race. He's actually 6 laps behind, which is a long, long way. So he's just going around hoping that some more of these idiots around him fall off the road, he's thinking.
In case you joined us late, we had a crash on the first turn of the race. We had a yellow flag out, and we stopped the race. It's Fisichella now coming in for his pit stop. Let's pick this up.
Yeah, Giancarlo's coming now, pulling the Benetton to a halt. Yeah, nicely in position. Jacks up, clean the visor. Quite a lot of fuel going in the car, as Derek was saying earlier. This is a one-stop strategy for Giancarlo Fisichella. Critical when everything goes smoothly. And it's a great stop for Fisichella. Schumacher was just going past there, I believe, as he came out. Indeed, but he's in a very strong position now. Schumacher has to make another stop.
Yeah, we saw Schumacher go by the end of the pit road just as Fisichella came out, but of course Schumacher has got to now make yet one more pit stop, although it won't be that much fuel. So Schumacher, as you can see, is giving it everything he's got, and a little bit more.
Schumacher now with the lead. Fisichella not as quick as a pit stop as I thought they would have.
Well, you see, as I pointed out, they actually had to put a little bit more fuel in because it's only on a one-stop strategy. They're also in a situation they don't want to make a mistake. They know that if they play it properly with Schumacher making another stop, they can win the race. So they're going to make sure they put those wheels on absolutely perfectly, immaculately, and do the right amount of refueling. They weren't going to make mistakes.
Take an extra 2-3 seconds.
Absolutely.
Make it pay off at the end of the race.
And as a driver, I much prefer that. I like it when I know the guys have put the wheels on. And fourth place, I believe, or third and fifth place, absolutely outstanding. Fifth and sixth place are the two Fords since those pit stops. Fifth and sixth place, great for Jackie Stewart. They've had such a dismal time with their car and their engine, and they needed a boost. The other people that needed a boost was Williams, and they just didn't get that.
Not today. All right, what is Michael Schumacher doing now?
Well, he's gradually easing away. He's up to a 5-second lead over Giancarlo Fisichella.
Can Fisichella catch him at all?
No, he won't. He can't catch him as long as they keep going as they are. I think one of the reasons why is the fact that it's a new team, Benetton, this year, under new management. And, of course, they're running a Renault Mecachrome engine. This was the Renault Formula One engine of last year. There has been very little development done of the Renault Mecachrome engine as Ferrari prepare there. It looks like for Eddie Irvine to come in. But there's been very little development done of that Renault Mecachrome engine. Renault have promised that they will assist Mecachrome in developing the engine somewhat to give them some power. So both Williams and, of course, Benetton will have a more powerful engine as the season goes on.
Fisichella now running second. His teammate Wirtz is running fourth.
Yes, and I think Wirtz will end up being running third because Irvine's about to go in for a pit stop. So that will make it a little bit more interesting to get both Benettons up there.
Kind of the mystery man of the race is Irvine. He was way back, and all of a sudden he keeps working his way up, and he appears at the moment before he'll go into the pit as he is running third.
Well, there he is now, working his way through this field. But look at the black soot. That is also brake dust, as well as it is oil and other things. Of course, it's the humidity in the air is sticking to the rear wing, and that picks up all the carbon dust off the brakes. I think that's why it actually...
Fisichella is losing momentum already. He's dropped another second back.
Yeah, he's dropping a second all the time, basically because the engine just doesn't have the power. You know, you have to look at the Ferrari. They're really putting it all together this year, and as we mentioned earlier, this is the crunch time for Ferrari. Ferrari have said they've got to make it work at this race meeting, and it looks like they are.
They did, and Schumacher made no bones about it. He said, Canada, if we don't make our move at Canada, we can forget the rest of the season. Well, it's going to be a brand new season now.
It's a brand new season from here on in, as long as Schumacher can stay there. Long way to go yet.
And also for the fact that both of the McLarens are out, so they will not get any points.
Yeah. No, there'll be no points for McLaren this weekend. And there's the board going out to Schumacher. P1 plus 6.4 Fizzy. That really is pretty self-explanatory.
Yes. With 14 laps remaining.
Well, Michael basically can back off just a tad. Irvine, they're preparing for Irvine. They're taking the wraps off the tires. But Schumacher can back off just a little bit. He's put that distance between him and Fisichella. He said to you, boy, I can outrun you anytime I want. Now he's going to back off. He's going to conserve his tires. He's going to conserve his brakes. And he's then going to cruise around and just keep that 5 or 6 second gap. Now let's just see how quick this stop is. Wirtz is 17 or something like 13 seconds behind Irvine. 17 seconds.
Whoa,
That's a great stop. 6.9. He should come out ahead of Wirtz. There's Wirtz on your left of your screen. Irvine's out. Ferrari's still lying first and third. That's amazing. Ferrari, I mean, so far this year, as far as I can remember, I've never seen Ferrari make a mistake in a pit stop. Their pit stops have been immaculate. You know, dear old Ferraris, the Italian excitement and drama of throwing things everywhere, they've really got it together, and they just control their temperaments and do an immaculate job.
And interesting that you come to this point and you're just past the 1/3 mark of the season, you know, about 40%, and they only have one win to their credit.
Absolutely, but it was a good win, an outstanding win in a great race, and this really, in another way, has been a great race.
It has, and could turn around the rest of the season for Ferrari.
Well, it certainly give them added impetus to develop the car further. We know that Goodyear have got another improvement to come, another bit of better compound to come for the French Grand Prix. And as the Goodyear man said to me this morning, he said, you know, it's just going to be another 1/10 of a second quicker for the next race, and that's how they're going to have to work away at it, just chiseling away.
And Fox Sports Net will have the coverage of that French Grand Prix. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. We come back to the Grand Prix of Canada. Michael Schumacher leading the race. If he goes on to win it, or if he finishes second, he will take over second place in the Drivers' Championship from Coulthard, who is out of the race. Mika Hakkinen will still continue to lead.
Schumacher's got an 8.5-second lead now over Fisichella, as you can see. Just what Michael wanted, gradually pulling away, not doing any heroics, not getting fastest laps now.
Are drivers superstitious?
Very superstitious, in fact. Over everything, walking out everything, colours, you know, carrying things in the cockpit with them. But there's a bit of absolute superstitious nonsense that I picked up the other day. The 1980 race was Canada's 13th World Championship Grand Prix, the 13th race of the season, and Jean-Pierre Jabouille, Frenchman from Renault, started 13th on the grid, and on lap 26, which is 2 times 13, he crashed, breaking both legs, and that finished his career. He became a Le Mans driver, and we actually drove for Renault at Le Mans together. We're on lap 58 at this moment. Schumacher going on his cool way. Villeneuve's up to 11th place. I don't think Jacques is going to get necessarily what he wants as far as points today, but at least he's going to get some mileage on that suspension. They changed this car dramatically since the last Grand Prix. They've been working for a considerable time on the Williams to make it more competitive. It was dismal in Monte Carlo. It was like Villeneuve was 13th on the grid. Very unhappy with it. He actually had a miraculous drive through to an outstanding 5th place, but it was a great drive for him. But at the same time, the Williams at that point was not going very well. They've worked on it. They've made it a lot more competitive. We saw it, of course, well up the grid here.
Michael Schumacher continuing to lead the Grand Prix of Canada. And this would be the hat trick, winning in 94, 97, and he holds on here, capturing it in 98.
Talking about some statistics, seeing the Jackie Stewart cars go so incredibly well here. I mean, they're doing...
Fisichella now is 10 seconds behind.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, Michael's just easing away from him. But just going back, if I may, you have the situation. We have Barrichello and Magnussen both driving those Stewart Fords. And this here in Canada, not necessarily at this circuit, but Jackie Stewart's last race was here in 1970. And he actually retired here. It was his 99th and final Grand Prix at Mosport in 1973. And here he is coming back and having his 2 cars in the top 6 positions with only about 11, 12 laps to go. Wonderful piece of work.
Let me ask you this about Benetton. Now, Fisichella doesn't have the car that Schumacher has, so he's sitting very comfortably in 2nd place, and because he's got like a 45-second lead over 3rd place now. Is he also going to do the same thing as Schumacher? Is he going to just step back a little, make sure that he finishes and holds on to 2nd?
Yeah, he can afford to do that, but you know, when you're a young driver like that, it's very difficult to back off, and the only way to drive these cars well is to drive them flat out. He might conserve a little bit. He might knock 500 revs off his maximum revs when he shifts, just to save the top end of the engine, because it is those massive high revs, 16,500 revs, that does wear the engine down, gives it the problems it gets. So he's probably doing that right now, but he's a racer and he wants to be close to Michael. Who knows? Michael might get tangled up with a back marker. He knows Michael's a pretty bright driver and he isn't going to make silly mistakes, but stranger things will happen. We've seen some pretty strange ones this day.
Yeah.
So it could happen, and Schumacher could lose, let's say, 12 or 13 seconds. And then Fisichella would be sick if he had dropped back to 25 seconds behind for no reason at all. So I think he will try and keep that pace up.
But he simply doesn't have the car right now to run with it.
No, he doesn't. He was very close in qualifying. As you know, they both, he was within 4/10 of Schumacher's time. He did a great time in practice, but in qualifying, here he's pulling himself out through traffic. You see, this traffic is slowing him down, very probably anyway, just a few tenths. He's not going to take a chance. His team right now would be very happy with another 2nd place. They had a 2nd at Monaco. They haven't had a win this year. Benetton haven't had a win for a while. Schumacher was their star. Schumacher, when he's with them, won the World Championship. So they're going to take it very easy. They want to get those points. It's very valuable for them. So when they get their slightly modified engine later on, you know, they're right on the ball.
And keeps the spirits of everybody up.
Absolutely.
continuing to lead with Fisichella running second. Irvine is currently third. Wirtz is fourth. Bercello is fifth. Magnuson is running sixth. And almost after the midway point of the race, there was a tendency to take a deep breath. We'd almost lost half of the field by then. We'd had 2 full restarts, 3 or 4 starts behind the safety car, and we ended up losing 10 or 11 cars in the race. Cars here not running after 61 laps. And this may take a while.
Tuero, Hill, Panis, Frensham, Herbert, Coulthard. There'll be some more yet.
There are more.
Salo, Takagi, and Hakkinen. Hakkinen, Takagi on the first lap. Ralf Schumacher, Alesi, and Trulli. What a lot. And that was after about 4 starts. Peter, have you got some news for us?
Well, not so much news, Derek. I just wanted to say that Jacques Villeneuve's had a bit of flack this year about maybe being a bit difficult and a world champion that's a bit elusive. I think it's great to see him out there driving around. He hasn't got a chance really of being in the points, but he's out there in front of his home crowd driving around in the Williams, and I think that's a great thing to do. Obviously, from Williams' point of view, they're probably looking at this race as some useful testing, because the car is new with its long wheelbase form, and it's a good opportunity for them. Also a reliability test, of course, and various components, new components on the car. Knowing Patrick Heady's probably put some new tweak on the car to try for Magny Cook.
He probably put it on, Peter, in that last pit stop when they put the wing on.
Yeah.
Because that is the rear end of the car, and that's something they've been changing amongst the diffuser. They lengthen the chassis. In fact, they have to lengthen the scales when they go to weigh the car when they put the Williams on it. It's so long these days. But of course, you say it, and it's great for him to be out there, Peter, in front of his home crowd. It's very good for his visibility in his own country.
For those of you watching on Fox Sports Net Southwest, we now send you to the start of your Major League Baseball game between the San Diego Padres and your Texas Rangers. We will keep you up to date on the finish of today's race. And the same scenario continuing here at the Grand Prix of Canada, with Schumacher just comfortably in front, going after his 2nd victory of the year, and this will be his 29th career win.
If he makes it.
If he makes it.
It's like saying, you're going to win, you know, you're going to win. You go, I don't know, I haven't seen that checkered flag yet. Gosh, it's the most awful feeling when you, it's like a kiss of death when somebody says, I just hate saying they're going to win, but look at Schumacher's got up to 16.2 seconds now.
What happens to your hearing in the last few laps if you're leading the race like that? You hear everything rattling and rolling in the car?
I have backed off before now thinking there was something wrong with the car, and there wasn't. It's just that my hearing was trying to pick up stuff, whereas before it was deafened to everything that happened behind me. I think what's interesting to see Rosset there coming in for his pit stop. That must be his best result. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but he was running in 8th place. And there's a guy that started on the back row of the grid. Just shows that you can get good results as you go, and there are just 5 laps to go.
He didn't finish 14th at Argentina, which is his best this year.
Yes, he's not had a great experience in Formula One, and of course he's in a good team. It's a team that we're expecting great things for the future.
5 laps remaining.
Well, Schumacher's very capable at this stage to bring a car home. You'll notice he's not running over any of the curbs. He's keeping off everything. He's driving. Look, you can actually see the dimples on his cheeks as he goes through the corners. Wonderful camera work there as he works his way through. He's going to drive an immaculate race. He has to concentrate. He cannot let his mind drift off to developments of the car or anything like that. He does actually talk to his pit crew the whole time. And I think he'll be continuing to do that. He's talking to the guys down there and talking about what's this temperature, what's that, tell me about this, tell me about that. And he's probably trying a few little different things on the car as he runs, but he's going to drive an immaculate race, knows he hasn't got to worry about the guy behind, and he's just going to cruise.
He has a 15.5-second lead on Giancarlo Fisichella, the Italian in the Benetton.
You can see the car isn't getting out of shape at all. You can almost hear when he accelerates, he's not giving it as hard under giving the transmission such a thrashing as he was. Kept well off that curb, whereas before he would have been up on the curb, up against the guardrail. And of course, he's about 1.5 seconds off his quickest lap at this time. In fact, the last lap was 2.5 seconds off his quickest lap. So he's backed off considerably, and he can afford to do so.
Eddie Irvine in the other Ferrari is running third, so if it holds the way it is right now, both Schumacher and Irvine, two Ferraris, will be on the podium with the Benetton.
Yeah, it'll be very, very exciting. I think for Fisichella, who's almost sort of stunned by the fact that Benetton had given these chances last year with Jordan, and he drove with Ralf Schumacher in the other car, and they had, you know, quite an interesting few races, you might say, with incidents, but at the end of the day, he went off to Benetton, and I think he's matured as a driver. He loves driving with them. David Richards, who is the director of Benetton, is a very good friend of mine, and he runs a very successful rally team. And in fact, today is the Acropolis Rally, which you imagine is in Greece.
Yes.
And he has his team running over there. He has a great team called ProDrive, and he has his fingers in lots of pies. Very clever man, and I think actually got the temperament to run a Formula One team. Very calm, very, very intelligent man.
Fisichella, 25 years old, still looking for his first victory. Barrichello, the Stewart team, is 26. He's still looking for his first victory.
Well, they're certainly watching closely on those on their readouts up there to check those engines running properly, everything running smoothly. But of course they're doing a great job, super job. The Ford engines this weekend working really well for them.
And it's becoming such a calm finish after such a hectic start that we had.
The calm after the storm, as
yes. They say. And the sun now trying to break through the clouds, and the rain has stayed away today.
It'll all be nice and sunny as they pack up all their kit. These poor guys have then got to pack up all their tons of kit as they go home. Absolutely amazing the amount of equipment these guys have to bring each year to the races. Did you know that roughly each team brings about 35,000 pounds in weight of equipment to the races? And they actually have to bring 2 747s full of their equipment. And the cost to each team for this race is $500,000
just to get
their cars here. That's the 2 cars, you know, not one, just 2. But that's a big hole in your budget.
And the packing has to be horrendous.
Yeah, packing is amazing.
Oh yes.
But the circus moves on to France, as you said just now, into Manicourt in France, 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. I bet Magnussen cannot believe his luck. Jan Magnussen there in 6th place. He's going to collect his first ever World Championship point. This young man has had so much criticism from all the press, from everybody really, us included. He was a young star in his own formulas in Europe, but he's come through. He's had a terrible time with Stewart. The car, you know, obviously the development of an engine, development of a chassis, he's been the one that's had the brunt of it all, because obviously Barrichello would do most of the work and have the better equipment. Here he is. Had a big crash yesterday, wrote the car off, as we said, and here he is up there in 6th place, about to get his first point. And I bet he never believed that when he started this weekend.
And we mentioned that for Michael Schumacher, this would be his 29th career win, 108 Grand Prix starts. For Ferrari, the number is 115. 115 Grand Prix victories if Schumacher holds on to it here. As he comes to the hairpin one more time. And I think that you saw when he made his pit stop how he set the tone that he was going to win the race.
Absolutely. It was that pit stop, the crew working together, the way they put it all together.
7.2 seconds.
Yeah. Absolutely outstanding. And they did just the same thing back in Argentina. They just showed that they have the control, and everybody knows that Ferrari pit stops are going to be the best.
All right, here we go. This is the final lap. Take us around with Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, when he's going around, he's just starting up the center hairpin. He's got a car in front of him. He's now going to be thinking, the strange thing is, he's not going to be thinking of victory right now. He's thinking, do I go by that guy in front? Does he know I'm here? Do I go by him? I daren't make a mistake. He does. It's Pedro Diniz. He daren't get too involved with him. He'll just, sensibly, he should probably just stay behind him, cruise around, let Diniz get on with it. Diniz, of course, will then have to do an extra lap, but that doesn't borrow Michael Schumacher. He's probably going to stay behind unless Diniz slows down to let him by. It's a wonderful moment for driver Michael Schumacher will move up into 4th place in the standings of all-time winners of Grand Prix. But what an incredible young man that can get in that Ferrari team. He's brought this Ferrari team round him. All the Ferrari team are building up on the walls right now, but he's formed this team around him. He has this most amazing ability to bring these great engineers with him. He's on the back straightaway out of the casino hairpin. He's got about 3/4 of a mile to go on the way to a great victory for Ferrari.
Michael Schumacher, who is 29 years of age, capturing here in Montreal his matching number, his 29th career victory. And there it is.
Absolutely brilliant. A great drive when you consider too that he had a 10-second penalty which amounted to about 20 seconds with the overall stop. An excellent drive from Giancarlo Fisichella. He came of age today, didn't make any mistakes. He was under great pressure from Schumacher from behind, great pressure from Schumacher in front. He did not make a single mistake. I mean, he is the star of the future without a doubt. We said this last year, but I'm convinced of it. He's a great young driver and we'll see a lot more of him. And here's Eddie Irvine coming down. Wirtz just behind him there. Eddie in the second. The Ferrari is about to pick up third place. I think it will be his 5th podium finish this year. I think I'm right in saying excellent for him, outstanding for Irvine, great for Ferrari, of course.
This is the Grand Prix of Canada, just captured by Michael Schumacher, and we'll be back live in a moment. Every day, well, every day it's a banner day for Michael Schumacher. The strategy worked perfectly. And also, the strategy of Giancarlo Fisichella, there are the unofficial results. In our pre-race show, when Peter talked to him, he talked about the fact that if he caught the fish, he'd be on the podium. Well, he fished, he reeled it in, didn't he? And he's on the podium with his second straight second finish. And Eddie Irvine with his second straight third finish. Finished third at Monaco. He was also on the podium there.
He is moving ahead of David Coulthard into second place in the Drivers' World Championship with 34 points.
Very happy Giancarlo Fisichella there. I think a little bit stunned, but nonetheless great bit of driving from him. Probably a little bit disappointed he couldn't do more about Michael Schumacher. It's something that a young driver always wants to beat the star, and he had the opportunity but just didn't have the equipment. I think he has the ability to do a great job.
This is his 32nd Grand Prix race. Is it still a learning process for him?
You know, it's really only in his second year almost of races, and it's you know, it's pretty tough for him. Yeah. It's pretty tough out there. It's, you know, we were talking about this yesterday with some of the older drivers in the paddock, and it's a very steep learning curve. When these new young guys come in, it's very hard for them.
Okay. I think it's been a fantastic race. I'm down at the Parc Fermé now. Alexander Wirtz is sipping on a drink, electrolytes no doubt. The most impressive thing here with the Stewart team greeting their two drivers, it's almost as if they won a Grand Prix. To have both cars in the points was just great. And Barrichello and particularly for Jan Magnussen, he looks so happy. It looks as if he really has won a Grand Prix. Nakano, Rosset, people we don't normally talk about. It's been a good day for the underdog, I think. That's how you should remember this. Also, of course, Michael Schumacher's stunning drive.
Look at this enthusiasm. There's Jon Todt, the team manager, down there, the smaller gentleman on the left, very excited, talking to an English gentleman who's been there, who's my mechanic at Jaguars back in the 70s. Wonderful. See, so exciting to see these guys' enthusiasm. They've had a pretty hard, tough going. Schumacher, so excited. There's Phil Hill, world champion with Ferrari, the first American world champion we've ever seen. There he is, right behind there. Wonderful success for Schumacher, for Ferrari. Phil Hill looking at in awe about this great drive from Michael Schumacher, because it really was. We get sort of used to the way these guys drive, but it's still outstanding.
Here's a reminder that on June the 28th on Fox Sports Net, we'll have more Formula One racing. Mika Hakkinen, the McLarens will be there. Schumacher, of course, will be there. And the Ferraris as the circuit rolls into France. That's the French Grand Prix. The date is June 28th. That's 3 weeks from now on Fox Sports Net, so check your local listings.
Schumacher always looks so genuinely happy when he's won. He always looks, he doesn't look and say, as though to say, yeah, I deserve it. But he's really thrilled. He's always shows such enthusiasm and sort of surprised that he's won it.
Schumacher receiving the winner's trophy.
Jean Todt taking the Constructors' Trophy. Team manager of Ferrari. Eddie Irvine having a little whisper in his ear about how about a bit more power next time, John.
just a little bit more.
We probably said get off your knees. But, and look at Fisichella. Boy, is he happy.
Yes, he is.
Young Italian man who had a pretty poor start to the season, come on really well the last two races.
The president of the ASN of Canada. Congratulations, gentlemen. It's at your feet in a moment.
Schumacher with a hat trick. His third win in Canada.
The only other person to do that, Nelson Piquet. Here we go. They're going to get each other in a minute. This is where the overalls stink smell, but boy, you don't mind. You just won a Grand Prix.
And you can tell the younger drivers haven't figured out quite how it all works.
Don't have a drink, Eddie. That's my boy. Take some of that down, you. It's great to see Fisichella up there. He did drive an astoundingly competent, sensible, good race. And Eddie Irvine and Schumacher got a lot of races behind them, but Fisichella hasn't. He did a very mature job.
And Ferrari and Michael Schumacher making the statement that Schumacher said that we have to make when we come to Canada.
Yeah, they're pretty close to being right every time. Yeah. We will do it this week.
Yeah, so we have to turn our season around, make no bones about it. And they certainly, this could be the turning point for them.
Yeah, one has to thank Goodyear. Goodyear done an incredible job. They produced another new rear tire. They've produced a new tire. Peter, I believe you might have something for us.
Yeah, I'm with Alexander Wirtz. Alexander, a hard day for you, I guess, but very pleased with the result at the end.
Yeah, it was a hard weekend overall, but with first place, another 3 points, I'm quite pleased because this was such a crazy race, the most crazy race in my whole career, and I just hope to finish the race because so many things happened. With fourth, I'm really pleased.
Did you end the race with a car that you were happy with, or would you like to start testing now, as it were?
No, I started in my T car because my race car was a bit destroyed after my accident. The T car was set up for me, so it was from the setup quite right. It was a different amount of a different engine inside, which is lower revs, but was no major problem in this race because it was just to finish the race. You made some points. At here with fourth, 3 points. Quite happy.
And what are your thoughts about that accident?
At the start, I managed quite well, and then Damon Hill pushed me far to the left, which was very hard from him, but still fair, I must say. But very, very hard. And then on this line where he pushed me, there was no more grip at all. I braked and I went on. I had a collision with Jean, and I overrolled a few times. I didn't hurt myself. Came straight on the radio. I'm fine, no problems. Can I jump in the T car? In the meantime, was red flag, so I ran back and restart.
Okay, and a great result. Well done.
Alexander Wirtz finishing fourth. His debut here a year ago as a Formula One driver. So today starts his second year in Formula One, and he starts it in fourth place in Canada. We come back to cloudy Montreal. The helicopters behind the paddock dropping in. The helicopters now deplaning the people, rather inplaning the people as they will be leaving. They've been like a taxi service in and out of here. We've enjoyed that as part of the ambiance. And now let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship points. Hakkinen and now Schumacher picking up 10 points. Hakkinen, of course, and Coulthard both with no points. So that race is snuggling up just a little bit. And watch Irvine. He just keeps creeping up in fourth. He could well finish in the top 3. He just every week he's there. Fisichella now finishing second the last 2 weeks. And Wirtz is 6th with 12 points. On the Constructors' Championship, McLaren continues to lead, not quite as comfortably as they did before, but what, 22 points out in front of Ferrari. Now let's drop in on the press conference.
Well, Michael, after an exciting and eventful race, that must have been the result you were dreaming of.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously we knew we were close to the McLarens this weekend. I had a good race up to David's problem with him. I don't know what strategy he was on, but I was definitely faster, but there was no way to get by. And in the moment he broke down, it was obviously a good situation for me to score the full points and them no points to catch up in the championship. Now it looks obviously much better.
Going back to the start of the race, were you a bit frustrated to have a restart, because you seemed to make a good start?
Yeah, I had a very good momentum at the first start. I couldn't repeat it at the second start for whatever reason. That's something definitely we have to improve. We have to make a bit easier our system. I lost actually one position against Giancarlo, which I could recover very quickly. Almost I hit Mika because he had a problem immediately at the start, which was quite difficult to avoid that. So quite exciting at this moment, but obviously not the position I wish to be in.
Now, what happened with Heinz-Harald Frentzen when you came out of the pits? Because you seemed to come very close together there, and he ended up going off.
To be honest, I haven't seen it. I can only imagine what happened, and if that happened, I really have to excuse, because I went down the pit lane, I looked to my right to see whether there is someone. I didn't see anyone, so I pulled over to get on the line. And in the mirrors, it's almost impossible to see things, and I really don't know what happened. I have to look at video, but if I have done anything, I just want to excuse myself.
So presumably you were pretty surprised when you were called in for a 10-second penalty?
Yeah, because I knew I didn't speed in the pit lane, so I wondered what was going on. And they told me then with Frentzen, but I had no clue what had gone on at this moment.
And then later in the race, you also had to have a pretty hard fight with Damon Hill, by the looks of things.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to hear the words I thought in that moment, because that's purely dangerous. If someone wants to kill you, he can do it in a different way, because we're going down there 320 kilometers per hour. Somebody moving 3 times the line, that's simply impossible. You can do it once, you go from one side to the other side, that's it. That's what we usually do. But you can't move 3 times, and you can't have things happen where it will touch and almost touch. I was so angry with that situation that I wonder why he doesn't get a penalty for doing things like that. I know I cut the chicane, but I almost hit him. I almost lost my car in that circumstance, so I was lucky just to get through the chicane anyway. And that's completely impossible for such an experienced man to do such things. I can't handle that, and I will have a big word with him. It's just impossible.
Well, you seem to
and you just heard, of course, the comments of Michael Schumacher, who captured the championship here at the Grand Prix of Canada. Let's go back now to wrap up some closing remarks. First, let's check in with Peter Windsor. Peter?
Amazing race and an unforeseen development here, and I've never known this to happen before. The official stewards have issued a paper asking no drivers to leave the circuit. I guess there's going to be a massive investigation about the 2 first corner accidents and various other things that took place, so this race is certainly not over yet.
Derek Bell.
Well, there we are watching second restart. It was a shambles, and I guess some questions have to be answered, but at the end of the day, it was a very, very good race, and despite all this, made it very exciting, but some great drives. Wonderful stuff of Stuart Ford. Really, at the end of the day, I think they deserve a big accolade.
Well, we had a lot of excitement at the start, and part of the good news is the fact that nobody was hurt. We had a lot of great racing. It was an atrocious day, you might say, because we lost quite a few cars along the way. But we did have 10 finished, 22 starters, and it was a lot of fun. And Ferrari is back, no question about that. For Derek Bell and Peter Windsor, I'm Charlie Jones saying so long from the Grand Prix of Canada. Be sure to join us on June 28th on Fox Sports Net as the Formula One circuit rolls into France for the French Grand Prix. Also be sure to watch the coverage of qualifying live on Speed Vision. Check your local listing. Our winner here today in Canada with the hat trick, 3rd time that he has won here, is Michael Schumacher. Formula One World Championship has been a special presentation of Fox Sports Net.